So the Saiyans were really a whole different breed, bruh. So many months after Big Raditz got folded like an omelet at Denny's, the Earth's mightiest heroes hit the weight room and decided they were going to post up and wait for the arrival of Raditz's homies, thinking they put in enough work to defend their backyard from the devastation that was about to occur. Oh boy, did these fellas have another thing coming.
I'm in danger.
So out of the dust, we see Jake and the fat man pulling up with their scouters on, zero stress on their shoulders. The big fella Nappa starts rattling off power levels, and when the Prince of all elves tells him that he might as well put that thing away because the boys out here know how to raise and lower their energy at will. Vegeta tells Goldberg that they should have about 6 of them things on them and get them ready to go. So bust them out and let them go to work. Next thing you know, we see big fella crouch down, start to plant some seeds, and in a few seconds, you see these awful looking gremlins pop out, and you can tell they are off the pack because they come into the world ready to cause mischief, bruh. Second after they got out of the dirt, they smelled something fishy and started swarming Gohan, Piccolo, and Krillin. I gotta give Piccolo and Krillin credit though. Them fellas went right to work when them boys started circling, but Gohan on the other hand was in absolute shock, boy. And I truly can't blame him. Mans is a good 6 years old, maybe at this point in the story, and these grown men really brought him out here in the middle of the wasteland to fight for his life like these things are really sweet out here. I felt so bad for homie. Fella had tears in his eyes, mouth wide open, catching flies during the whole altercation. Then one of the green homie realizes that little man has no business being out here and shoulder checks him like he was about to punk him for his lunch. Luckily, before it can get even more tragic, Tien, Chaozu, and Yamcha roll out the cut talking that heat the moment they touch down. Yamcha especially had me weak with his entrance because he came into the scene with his back turned, not even facing the enemy like he was the main character. If Buddy only knew what was about to happen after the whole crew shows up, Vegeta's like, alright, bet, let's run a set, shirts versus skins, my people against your people. Tien goes up to bat first and he puts a dub on the board, but I have to tell you how sick to my stomach it made me watching these fellas have a full-blown martial arts throwdown with Cybermen. The difference in power level from the beginning of the series to the end is absolutely bonkers, because in no way should Cybermen be out here making folks sweat the way they are in this scene. But I digress. The team starts gassing up Tien for his dub. The Cyberman tries getting up because he ain't hear no bell, but Vegeta blows the man apart in a really gruesome way, I might add. Good lord, old DBZ was on something completely different compared to Super. With one alien out the way, it's time for round 2. Krillin steps up to the plate ready to put in some work, but Yamcha holds him back and tells him, nah, young blood, you get wrecked one more time, it's a wrap because you already got folded once.
He's gone.
If I die, y'all can still bring me back. Bro must have really seen a prophecy out here like Raven Baxter, because the L he took at to this random ass Cyberman is so well known, it's an urban legend at this point. But I'll admit, Yamcha started off looking strong. He was going lick for lick, pause, with the alien until he started feeling cute, busts out this after image technique and fires off a Kamehameha wave right into the Cyberman's chest and puts him in the dirt. Yamcha was talking that goodish too, boy, rolling up on Nappa and Vegeta saying he's ready to take on the whole Cyberman squad, and this homie turns out to be his fatal mistake, because these Cybermen are built to last. Little homie got out the dirt, wrapped his arms and legs all the way around Yamcha, and mans was shook. Yamcha's just sitting in the middle of this wasteland damn near in tears, while all his homies are about to watch him get hoed by a random jobber that caught him lacking. You truly hate to see it. To make matters worse, right before the Cybermen put the finishing touches on the ass whooping, he gave a little smile to Yamcha just to give him something to think about on the way to King Yemma's and blew his ass away, creating the now famous Yamcha massive L death pose. But can we just stop for a minute and think about how traumatizing this had to be for poor Gohan? Bro is barely in elementary school and is out here in the battlefield literally watching people die and is expected to throw hands with creatures more powerful than anyone on this planet has ever seen. If you ask me, it's no wonder little dude became a pacifist as he grew up, because if this is my first real taste of combat, you best believe I'm good. Y'all can keep that. Let me go home, read my little books. I swear my mom would never have to threaten me to study again. That's a fact. But what I forgot is what happens after Yamcha gets dusted. While everyone is sitting there looking crazy with their mouths wide open after seeing what happened to Yamcha, Krillin enters demon time and decides somebody's gonna have to answer for what happened to one of his day ones. Out of nowhere, little ball homie starts charging his ki, then shoots an energy wave at Vegeta and Nappa. They know it ain't gonna do crap to him, so they don't even bother trying to dodge. Then all of a sudden, Krillin sends that thing up in the air and drops straight nukes on top of the Cybermen and catches at least 3 bodies. I gotta give it to him, he did his thing right here, but my issue becomes this. My man, if you had the capability to wipe out the whole squad like that on a moment's notice, why did you not just do it at the beginning of the fight? You let one of your mans get wiped off the map before deciding to do this, and the math just ain't mathing for me right now. But I digress. Krillin put in work, but one of the Cybermen managed to scurry away on some sneaky stuff. While they were celebrating the work Krillin just put in, one of the aliens' pieces of garbage jumps out and tries to put Gohan on a t-shirt. Luckily though, the realest of them all, Piccolo was stanced up, already saw it coming, gives the alien a gut shot, then kills him with this random ass mouth blast on some absolutely nasty work. I swear, bro, early Dragon Ball gave these characters the most random techniques ever, and we just never see these moves again. Toriyama, I am begging you, give these characters their toolkits back. We need to see it. Now back to the fight. With the Cybermen going, Nappa decides that it's time for him to tag in. And honestly, if I'm the Z Warriors, I'm packing my bags as soon as homie started key charging. All bro did was gather his energy, and it caused a good 7.5 on the Richter scale earthquake to pop off. And the look on their faces while Nappa's powering up is just tragic. Them boys were hearing funeral bells from the start, and nobody can tell me otherwise. After Nappa finishes, he realizes nobody feeling froggy enough to jump at him, so he decides that he's gonna make the first move. And watching Nappa scan the terrain and look each person out there in the eye before picking who to demolish is one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen. Nappa smelled the most urine coming from Tien's direction, so he decides that this is where the beatdown's gonna begin. He smacks Tien in his arm once and gives him the craziest Charlie horse of the century, then he smacks him a second time and the whole hand goes flying off. And once again, my thoughts go back to Gohan. Who really had this child out here like this, bruh? Chi-Chi should have whooped all their asses when they came back home, because this whole thing is absolutely unacceptable. Before Nappa can put the finishing touches on Tien, both Krillin and Chaozu try to do something to stop Nappa's reign of terror. Piccolo had me in tears here because man tells Krillin, nah bruh, you might as well stay back because he's a lost cause at this point. Piccolo already knew it was raps, but Krillin and Chaozu decide they need to learn the hard way. Chaozu, realizing trying to fight Nappa up front is a straight no-go, decides he's going to take a page out of the Cyberman handbook and use his life energy to blow Nappa away and save his best friend. I gotta be real with y'all, bro. The exchange between Tien and Chaozu here was some tear-jerking stuff. They were really each other's day one, and Tien was on the verge of tears trying to tell a man not to do it. Chaozu made up his mind though and blows himself up, satisfied with the knowledge that he at least gave his friends a fighting chance and took one of the bad guys with him. Except that's not what happened at all, and little homie's death literally did not even amount to a scratch on Nappa's clothing, let alone getting anywhere near wiping that man off the map. And Nappa made sure to let the whole squad know that little dude died for nothing too. I honestly forgot how much trash Nappa talks during this fight, y'all. Dude is on some straight WWE heel energy during this whole battle, and I'd be lying if I said bro didn't get a good chuckle out of me a couple times. Nappa goes in and tries to put the finishing touches on Tien's ass whooping, but at the last second, Krillin and Piccolo come in with the sneak attack and try to wipe dude out. Of course, the ambush doesn't work and they miss their most significant attacks like usual, so now they have to do a straight up face-to-face showdown with this menace Mr. Clean. Right before they begin their attack, both Piccolo and Krillin pull out this crazy ass shadow clone jutsu technique and try to beat the brakes off of Nappa in a 6v1. What happens is just an absolute travesty. After attacking this man 6v1 all at once, they can't even land a hit on this 7'9", 399 pound behemoth of a man. Both Krillin and Piccolo get hit so hard, their shadow clones retreat into their body. You know what? Maybe that's why we never see this technique again. The ass beating Nappa gave was so bad, the shadow clones just refused to ever come out because they ain't going through all that again ever. Tien, seeing the whole squad getting devastated one by one, decides that the only hope left is for him to put all his energy into one final attack and hope that erases Nappa. Tien by this point is halfway to King Kai's place anyway after his day one Chaozu got destroyed, so to him, what's the harm in putting everything into one last attack? Tien goes for it, throws up Crip in the memory of Chaozu, and shoots a tri-beam for the ages. Everyone's looking at it, had to low-key give him some props because that attack really did have a little juice behind it. But in the end, it didn't matter. Nappa emerges from the smoke very much alive, and Tien, feeling like a failure, dies using the last of his energy. Mad depressing, y'all. Seeing Tien in the dirt sends Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin into a rage, and they begin to attack again. Krillin and Gohan make a full head-on charge to Nappa's position, ready to risk it all. And while Nappa is distracted, Piccolo is lurking in the shadows and manages to grab onto Nappa's tail. Piccolo yells out to his teammates that he's got a hold of him, thinking that he's finally got the big man in checkmate. Gohan rushes in to try to land a full power attack while Nappa's in his weakened state, but next thing you know, Nappa cracks an absolutely devious smile and gives Piccolo one of the nastiest elbow drops to the dome piece ever seen in fiction. It was so bad, bro, that everyone just stopped in their tracks and the camera didn't even pan to him for a good good 10 seconds because it was just an ugly sight. Nappa had Piccolo looking crazy, y'all. Nappa summoned every piece of Namekian racism he had in his heart and concentrated it into an elbow to make positive that Piccolo felt it. I know Piccolo suffered at least 13 concussions off that elbow drop, boy. His ancestors felt that one. Brain was bouncing around in his head like a load of laundry. Man's eyes were almost bulging out of their sockets with just an absolutely massive purple bruise to remind him to never try that nonsense again. As you might have imagined, Piccolo needed to go home for a glass of milk after that one, so he's a non-factor for a good chunk of the fight after this. This leaves the 6-year-old and the bald man left to take on Nappa alone. Gohan tries to attack but gets swatted around like a ping pong ball, as one might expect when a 6-year-old is trying to fight a pro wrestler. This fight is the very definition of the coffin baby versus the hydrogen bomb meme. Krillin, realizing that this is just about over, decides to bust out a technique he had been saving in a last-ditch effort for the fight. I can't tell y'all how aggravated this had me too. Krillin was just sitting on all these murderous ass techniques and finds a way to wait till the absolute worst time every time to bring them up. Why didn't man think to do this while Nappa was distracted during the fight with the Cybermen? Or maybe when he was held up by Chaozu? Or Nappa was caught lacking when he got hit by Tien's Tri-Beam? Or better yet, why didn't the mans talk to the crew from the beginning and say, y'all, I got this crazy ass move that is guaranteed to put this man 6 feet under, but I need y'all to help me hold him still so I can land it. There was zero strategy or planning during this fight, just out here running on prayers and vibes. But let's get back to it. Krillin starts putting the finishing touches on his Kienzan, aka Destructo Disc, and points that bad boy directly at Nappa's throat. Nappa, being the absolute dummy that he is, decides he's gonna try to tank it head on and block it with his face. Vegeta notices that, nah bruh, little ball homie was cooking, you touch that and it's a wrap. So he calls out to Nappa to move his big ass head at the very last minute, and Nappa escapes with only a cut on his cheek, and the disc continues forward, cutting an entire mountain in half before it disappears. Then Krillin's sitting there looking stupid like, oh shucks, I missed. Now Nappa's pissed, realizing he almost got wiped out by this random 4'1" human. Bro also said that he was mad that it scarred his beautiful face, but at this point I gotta ask man to stop the cap, because we all know Nappa's modeling career was going nowhere. Nappa launches a nuke at Krillin's position, and right before he can chalk up another kill on the Z Warriors, he gets shot in the back by Piccolo, who finally regained consciousness after the severe brain injury he took earlier. Nappa begins rattling off every Namekian racial slur he can possibly think of and starts charging to ruin the rest of Piccolo's day, when out of nowhere, Gohan jumps out the cut and kicks Nappa so hard he gets planted into the side of a mountain. Now by this point, Nappa's just sick of the whole thing, starts gathering his energy and is ready to turn Gohan into dust particles and get the whole thing moving. Gohan is stuck, straight deer in the headlights, seeing his whole life flash before his eyes, but before the atomic bomb hits, my goat Piccolo comes in and takes the bullet for his son like the real one that he is, before making the journey to the afterlife. And shortly after this, that Son Goku himself rolls up and the whole vibe absolutely changes. But we'll save that part for another day. And that, my friends, concludes part 1 of Nappa and Vegeta's entrance to Earth's surface and introduction to Earth's mightiest heroes. Once again, I have to stress how wild Toriyama's storytelling is in the beginning of the Z series. Y'all gotta understand, man, coming from Dragon Ball, we have gotten to know these characters so well. They've been built up for volumes with whole ass character development arcs of their own. Then just a few episodes in a Z, we're watching these characters who we've grown to love just get blown to smithereens in some absolutely brutal ways. Toriyama did not care about his audience's feelings or expectations whatsoever, and I'm not mad at it one bit. Appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll talk to you again in the next video.